Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Rigolini Report. I'm your host, Chris Rigolini, Director of Bands at the Highlands Ranch High School. Our joke of the day today is brought to us by Maddie M. in the clarinet section. What is the difference between a clarinet and an onion? Nobody cries when you chop up a clarinet. If you'd like to hear your joke heard on The Rigolini Report, send me an email, crigolini@dcsdk12.org. Today we have a special guest with us, Mr. Brian Ernster. I sat down with Mr. Ernster to talk about his experience with the pageantry arts. Check it out. We're here with Mr. Brian Ernster, and he's going to talk to us about pageantry arts and his experience with the pageantry arts. How are you doing today, Mr. Ernster?
I'm doing great.
Good to hear it. Hey, can you first tell us how you got started in the pageantry arts and kind of where you've been in your journey?
Well, I started with the high school marching band and jazz band at Cherry Creek High School. And then my instructors at Cherry Creek were also the instructors for the Blue Knights in 1983. And I didn't know it at the time. So I showed up to a Blue Night rehearsal, and there's my instructors. I'm like, okay, I can do this. And I marched 3 years with the Blue Knights, 83, 84, and 85. And then I took a year off to go to the Blue Devils. I tried out in December, and then marched with them in 87 and 88. And then after I aged out, at that time I was with the CU marching band and was busy with that and with college. And after graduation, I started judging color guard in the WGI circuit in the local Rocky Mountain circuit, and judged that for about 4 years. And then joined the Army. And when I was in the Army, I judged in the Central Texas district, or Central Texas Judging Association. And I drove for the Blue Devils and during the summer so I could watch drum corps for free.
There you go. Driving that bus.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I drove Big Blue. I drove the truck. I drove the equipment truck.
Oh, okay. That's great. What do you think the biggest difference was when you made the change from performer to staff member or judge or as a teacher like you are now, as a instructional staff member? What's the biggest change or the biggest difference?
Well, I was lucky because when I switched over, when I aged out and graduated, and when I started judging, WGI was just starting. Shirley Whitcomb was just starting the judging academy. In fact, I was the first class, and so I mean, she went through all the basics of judging and what we were looking at. And at that time, color guards were just really starting to really break out of the militaristic in the early 90s, and really starting to put out some pretty good shows. So, and she helped us with that, with coming up to speed with what the color guards were doing at that time.
Really cool. So you were lucky to be right at the forefront of that, because WGI didn't start until what, 78?
Yeah, Lynn Lindstrom started at 78, and also George Lindstrom was my choir director in 83 and 84, 83 and 84. So we always, Lynn Lindstrom basically ran WGI out of her house in Arvada. So we would always go. In fact, Blue Knights would perform during the Rocky Mountain Color Guard, and also I was in an exhibition guard also that we just all male guard that we used to just do rifle tricks. So yeah, I was very familiar with WGI by the time I went to Blue Devils and came back.
That's really cool. That's really cool. When you think back on your years as a member in the pageantry arts, what do you miss the most, or what is your fondest memory that you can tell us?
Yeah, I really like to travel. I mean, obviously, I'm driving the the equipment truck, but that's kind of what I like. I joined was like get out of Colorado and see what else was out there. Um, but really, just learning. I loved the sounds that a brass choir could make, and was just blown away by what the Blue Devils could do. Jack Meehan and Wayne Downey could do with the Blue Devils horn line, and it was just really cool to play in one of the top, the best horn line at that time, um, and go through their preparation and go through a whole season with them was really kind of cool. Um, that what else would and just meeting and having these and we still talk on Facebook, and we still have alumni reunions with the Blue Devils and Blue Knights even. And that's kind of how I got started with the Highlands Ranch. But and so we're still friends, and we still chat on Facebook and make fun of other corps.
That is funny that you mentioned that, because that is how you came to us at Ranch. You needed a
we were playing the alumni corps was going to play at Drums on the Rockies, and I came to Chris at Highlands Ranch and said, "Hey, I need a baritone. They're not going to let me play a trombone, so I need to play a baritone." And he's like, "Oh, I do." He's like, "But I got other things for you."
Yep, and that's how we got started. That's funny. So what advice would you give to students that want to become members of either a WGI group or a DCI corps, or just take their education to the next level and have that same experience? Are there any tricks that they should know or things to look out for?
Yeah, they should start, as a senior or as a junior and senior, they should start looking at auditions. That was kind of a new thing for me. I was kind of blindsided by that when I went to Concord. Is that they put me through a formalized audition process, and I think that when I marched, it was kind of a good old boy, and it was kind of early days of drum corps. But now it's very formalized, and it's auditions, and then preparation for that audition. And now it's online, because not everyone's going to come to the camp and audition. So I think as a junior and senior, I would start, well, first of all, listen to your staff members and your band director. And two, work on your especially for brass players, work on flexibility. And that's what we just pounded into us. And then, have an audition piece that you're really comfortable with, because that's going to help you with, that got me into CU, was having an audition piece. I got an audition call up in '84, the summer of '84, or summer of '85 actually, and I had to go up to CU and audition within a week. So I was very fortunate to have an audition piece just so that I could in my back pocket, that I could go up and play for Dr. Bailey at CU. And then now with the Army Band, has a very formalized audition procedure, and you have to audition and you have to prepare for performance for each time you get promoted. If you want to go to school back at Little Creek, Virginia, you got to audition for it. So it's really kind of changed from when I was playing. I didn't have to do too many auditions, but now it's like, if you want to join these ensembles, it's a formalized audition now. And, and each ensemble has a certain way that they want to do it. So do it their way.
Yeah, and we see that. I'm used to preparing students for those college auditions, and we even see that on the college audition circuit. Some are doing it online, some are doing it live, and having a bank of pieces that you can rely on is really important. I remember when I traveled around the country auditioning for both my undergraduate and my master's, and having that repertoire is definitely key. So that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Where can students or community members go to get involved in the pageantry arts? I mean, if they wanted to get involved locally, where should we point them?
Well, if you're in the local area in Denver, I'd definitely, give the Blue Knights a try. They're getting so good that they're getting pretty picky. But at any player level, I think you can find a core that will fit you. I mean, there's troopers up in Casper that are always looking for players because Wyoming's not too populated, but they're always looking for players, and that's a really good organization up there with lots of tradition. I mean, Jim Jones started that in the 60s, and they were the cutting edge of drum corps back in the 60s and 70s. So that would be another option. And then there's, in Utah, there's the battalion, which is has different values than the other corps. I think that's great that they're kind of breaking the barrier of having other values, having a set of values that they live by. And each corps does, but they're really striking difference. And then there's the academy down in Arizona. So, and there's Class A corps, there's A60, all kinds of corps. And of course, you explain the DCA out in the East Coast. Those guys will take anybody. I mean, if you want to play drum corps, you can go play for DCA. So at all levels, you can do drum corps. Now it's very much more expensive than it was for me. I mean, I think my dues were $250. I think after I worked bingo games, and now it's like at least $2,500. You'd have to ask Caitlin how much fees are. I haven't even paid much attention, but it's really expensive to run a world class drum corps nowadays. It's just the budgets have just expanded so far. So I mean, and you can find a corps for your budget and for your ability level, and the same with color guards. There's color guards that have different independent color guards that have different rehearsal requirements and audition. And they have auditions also. So.
Yeah, and for those people that want to support these groups, obviously there's events like Drums Along the Rockies, and then if they wanted to be staff members or volunteers I know there's tons of opportunities on their websites for that as well. It really does take a village, and it takes an army of people, just like it does to run our high school group, outside of the performers to really make that go. So if people are curious and they want to get involved, definitely check out those websites, because there are volunteer opportunities there for sure.
Yeah, especially if you like to cook. I mean, in the Blue Devils, we've had cooks there for the cooks on the Blue Devils cook team. They're the same people that cooked for me when I was in the Corps. That's how long these people have been there. So they love what they do. I mean, it's really and they just love going out every summer and feeding the kids or driving for the kids or instructing the kids. It's just a lot of people really enjoy it. It's not for everybody, but for some people, they fit right in.
Does sound like a ton of fun. Well, thank you, Mr. Ernster, for giving us a little insight into your experience and a glimpse into the pageantry arts. We really appreciate you joining us today, and hope you have a great day.
Thanks, Chris. I enjoy the Rigolini report.
We're glad to hear it. A big thank you once again to Mr. Ernster for joining us today. A couple of reminders for you. If you need to contact me, my email is crigolini@dcsdk12.org. And don't forget to check your Google Classrooms for any updates or assignments. That about wraps it up for our episode today. Join us next time when we talk about more exciting topics in music. Until then, happy practicing!